I believe in America. Amerigo Bonacera whispers this sentence like a prayer, but the place he prays in is not a church, the house of God. It is a dark room choked with cigarette smoke, and the man opposite him is not a confessor. He is that terrifying figure who begins where the law ends, Don Vito Corleone. Most of you have seen the film The Godfather. You've etched Marlon Brando's iconic jawline and Al Pacino's icy stare into your memory. But let me tell you an uncomfortable truth. If you haven't read the book, you don't know what this story is really about. Mario Puzo's 1969 masterpiece is not just the story of an Italian family's rise to power. It is the American dream doused in petrol and set alight. The film showed us a romanticized family. The book, however, shows us the systematic decay that created that family, the savage teeth of capitalism, and how a person's soul is lost bit by bit. Why didn't Bonacera go to the police? Why weren't the courts enough for him? Because Puzo slaps us in the face with this on the very first page of the book. Justice is a luxury only for those who can afford it. The law is a weapon invented to crush the poor. Bonacera is forced to leave civilized society and return to the law of the jungle to avenge her daughter. This is where the Corleones' power comes from. They are not criminals. They are an alternative state established where the state has failed. Today at Daily Books, we delve into those dark pages lost under Hollywood's spotlight. We will uncover the deep psychological wreckage beneath Michael Corleone's transformation, not just into a criminal, but into a nothing. How Kay Adams became an accomplice and Johnny Fontane's loss of his voice. Turn off the lights and sit back, because what you are about to hear is not just a book summary. It is a bloody autopsy of the modern world. Welcome.
In the first 50 pages of The Godfather, Mario Puzo whispers to us an uncomfortable philosophical truth never taught in law schools. The adversary is the state's justice, expensive, bureaucratic, and slow. But the Mafia's justice, however, is instant, definitive, and bought not with money, but with a simple friendship. Let's pause here. Friendship. When you hear this word, doesn't it bring to mind warmth, trust, perhaps a coffee chat? For Don Vito Corleone, however, this word is the most dangerous currency in the world. Remember the Bonacera scene. The man went first to the police, then to court, to seek punishment for those who beat his daughter. What happened? The system betrayed him. The criminals walked free. When Bonacera came before the Don, the famous question Vito asked him was not a question of ego, but of ideology. This question means, why did you believe in their false world instead of mine? In the book, Puzo explores Vito's anger much more deeply. He sees the American justice system as a personal insult, because that system sees people as citizens, while the Don sees people as debtors. This is why Vito gets angry when Bonacera offers him money. Money settles the debt and ends the relationship. But friendship? Friendship is a bond of slavery that lasts a lifetime. Vito doesn't ask you for money. He buys the right to demand your soul at some unspecified time and place in the future. In the film, we see Vito as a kindly grandfather who loves his cat and plays with his grandchildren. Brando's performance was magnificent, but the book, the Vito Corleone in the book is much colder. He is Machiavelli's prince. He is not emotional. The book takes us to 1920s New York and tells us how Vito became the Godfather. When you read how he killed that bully Fanucci, a member of the Black Hand, your blood runs cold. Vito doesn't kill Fanucci to be a hero. He kills him simply because he thinks Fanucci is inefficient. Fanucci shouts a lot, threatens a lot, but does little work. But Vito is quiet. In the book, Vito's philosophy is this: anger and threats are the weapons of weak men. A strong man has no need of weapons. He is the weapon. The psychological truth you need to understand in this section is that the Corleone family is capitalism in its purest form. Imagine a company that buys out its competitors, eliminates those it cannot buy, demands absolute loyalty from its employees, and pays no taxes to the state. Vito Corleone is not a gangster. He is America's most successful CEO. The only difference is that the men on Wall Street bankrupt companies with signatures, but Vito does it with bullets. But the result is the same. Market share increases. In the book, Vito analyzes human weaknesses like a stockbroker. Everyone has a price. For some, it's money. For others, it's women. For others, it's revenge. Don's genius lies in giving everyone what they want and taking their freedom in return. He is a bank that manages people's fears. And in this bank, the interest rates are paid with your life. We descend into those dark tunnels that the film obscures, that director Coppola deemed unnecessary and discarded, but which were vital to Mario Puzo. Who was Johnny Fontane in the film? A weak character who sang at the wedding and then cried in front of the Godfather. And Lucy Mancini, the bridesmaid who had a brief fling with Sonny. Is that all? No. In the book, these two characters are the most grotesque evidence of the Corleone Empire's power to heal the human spirit and body. Let's start with Johnny Fontane. Puzo devotes hundreds of pages to Johnny in the book. Johnny is a man who exists only through his voice. However, his voice has been lost not due to a physical illness, but a psychosomatic breakdown. Pay attention to this term. Johnny has lost his women, his honor, and ultimately his self-respect amid the immoral machinations of Hollywood. His spirit has weakened so much that his body rebelled and his vocal cords failed. Why does Don Vito love Johnny? Because Johnny is Vito's showcase in the American dream. But Vito despises Johnny's weakness, that famous slap scene. In the book, that scene is not a father beating his son. It is the harshness of the old world, crushing the delicacy of the new world. Vito does not just give Johnny a film role, he buys back his manhood. The horsehead scene is not just to scare Jack Waltz, it is a divine intervention that removes the obstacles in front of Johnny. Johnny's recovery is not medical, but spiritual. The moment his father makes him feel strong again, his voice returns. This is a tremendous detail, showing that the Mafia not only kills, but also heals in its own twisted way. And Lucy Mancini. Here lies the book's most controversial, most disturbing, yet equally profound psychological layer. In the film, Lucy vanishes after Sonny's death. In the book, however, Lucy's drama is just beginning. Puzo describes Lucy as a physical anomaly. Lucy's pelvic structure is anatomically too wide to permit a normal sexual relationship. Therefore, Lucy always sees herself as incomplete, a freak, and unworthy of love. The reason she is so passionate about Sonny is not love, but because Sonny is also animalistic. Two monsters have found each other. However, when Sonny dies, Lucy is alone again. And where does she go? To Las Vegas, to that Sin City in the shadow of the Corleones. Who steps in there? The talented but morally lost Dr. Jules Segal, financed by the family. In the book, Dr. Segal fixes Lucy's anatomical problem with a simple surgical procedure. This story may seem unnecessary to you, but look deeper. What is Mario Puzo saying here? The Corleone family is so powerful that they don't just eliminate their enemies, they even correct nature's mistakes. Lucy, whom God created incomplete, is made whole by Corleone money and the doctor. The family possesses a godlike power that can even overcome biology. They repair Johnny's voice and Lucy's body. But what is the price? The price is to surrender the title deed to your soul to that family forever. Lucy eventually recovers, gets married, but she is no longer a normal woman. She is a product rebuilt by the Corleone system. This is the chasm between the book and the film. The film is a crime story. The book is a horror novel that illustrates how helpless people are and how absolute the system is.
Now we will witness the backbone of the story, the death of Michael Corleone's spirit and the birth of the Don. In the film, these transitions are swift. One moment we're in the hospital, the next Michael is pulling the trigger. However, in Mario Puzo's book, this process is agonizingly slow and detailed, like a chemical breakdown. It all begins on those hospital stairs, Captain McCluskey's fist. In the film, this is merely a physical assault. In the book, it is the shattering of Michael's American civil identity. When his jaw is broken and wired shut, Michael loses not only his ability to eat, he loses his ability to speak to the civilized world. Now, the only way to communicate is through violence. When he decides to shoot Sollozzo and McCluskey, Michael is not afraid. In the book, Puzo describes Michael's feeling at that moment as crystal clear. His hands tremble not from fear, but from the release of his true nature, which his body has suppressed for years. When he pulls the trigger, he doesn't just kill two men, he leaves that young man, the Dartmouth graduate and war hero, behind in that restaurant, at that table. And then exile, Sicily. This is where the film's greatest shortcoming and the book's greatest treasure lie. In the film, Sicily is beautiful scenery and a brief love story. In the book, Sicily is Michael's university. While Michael hides in those arid hills for months, he doesn't just escape the police, he becomes a student of 1,000-year history. Don Tomasino doesn't just give him a bed, he tells him the history of the Mafia. Michael learns that the Mafia is not actually a criminal organization, but a survival mechanism developed by the Sicilian people against the Arabs, Normans, French, and Spanish. In a place where the state is the enemy, the only way to ensure justice is through vendetta or blood feud. In the book, Michael understands that these lands are watered with blood and that violence is a language there. His gait changes, his gaze changes. His American naivety is scorched and destroyed under the Sicilian sun. And Apollonia, deep breath. Most people think this is just a summer fling. You are mistaken. Michael's feelings for Apollonia in the book are completely different from his feelings for Kay. Kay is his American dream. She is logical, modern. Apollonia, however, is his primitive self. Puzo uses the term
the thunderbolt to describe this love. It is more than sexual attraction, it is a genetic call. Michael finds in Apollonia what his ancestors possessed: unquestioning obedience and possessiveness. When Apollonia is blown up in that car, the last shred of humanity in Michael's heart is shattered. Fabrizio's betrayal teaches him one lesson: trust no one, not even those closest to you. After this explosion, Michael returns to America as a ghost. This transformation is very sharp in the book. His mother is frightened when she sees him, because standing before her is not her son. Standing before her is a young Vito Corleone. His reunion with Kay Adams is not a love story. It is a recruitment process. Michael goes to Kay because he needs a window display. He needs a wife who will bear his children and give him American respectability. In the book, Michael does not say, "I love you." He says, "I need you." And then he adds, "I will be like my father." Kay does not understand what this means, but we do. Michael has returned not to protect Kay, but to use Kay. The Sicilian exile is where Michael's heart was ripped out and replaced with a stone. He is no longer an individual. He is a weapon programmed for the survival of the family. And the safety of that weapon is now permanently off.
We have now reached the climax of the story, that moment of the great purge when Michael Corleone's humanity is completely extinguished. Francis Ford Coppola created the baptism scene, one of the finest pieces of filmmaking in cinematic history. On one side, Michael, as his nephew's godfather, rejects the devil in the presence of God. On the other, his hitmen are murdering the leaders of New York's 5 families. This scene is not just an action sequence. It is Michael's declaration of his own divinity. At that moment, Michael becomes the absolute master of life and death. Holy water and blood mix together. Michael is not lying when he says, "I renounce Satan in the church," because at that moment, he is not renouncing Satan. He is taking Satan's place. He no longer wants any rivals. In the book, Puzo explains Michael's strategy as eliminating not only his enemies, but also those who might become enemies. That is why Tessio's betrayal doesn't hurt him. It only confirms his prediction. Tessio saw Michael as weak. Michael, however, sees Tessio as a pawn to be sacrificed on the chessboard. There is no emotion, only the move. And Carlo, the husband of his sister Connie, the traitor who set Sonny up. In the film, Michael is calm when interrogating Carlo. In the book, however, this scene proves just how terrifying a manipulator Michael has become. Michael is so convincing when he tells Carlo, "I won't kill you, I'll send you to exile," that Carlo relaxes and confesses. This is Michael's superpower, telling people the lie they want to hear with the voice of truth. When Carlo gets into the car and Clemenza appears behind him, Michael doesn't even look out the window. He has passed judgment and closed the case. But the real tragedy comes with that famous lie at the end. Kay asks Michael, "Did you have Carlo killed?" Michael gets angry, shouts, and then gives that cold no answer. Kay relaxes and pours him a drink. In the film, the door closes and Kay is left outside. This is a tremendous ending that shows Kay has been cast out. But the book's ending is much more disturbing. In the book, Kay realizes Michael is lying. Connie shouts the
truth at him. Kay leaves the house, takes the children, and runs away to her father's. Michael doesn't use force to bring her back. He doesn't blackmail her. He just waits. Eventually, Kay returns. Why? Love? No. In the book's final paragraph, Kay becomes Catholic. She goes to church every day and prays for Michael's soul. Puzo shows us this. Kay has accepted that her husband is a monster, but for the comfort of the American dream, the lure of power, and her children's future, she chooses to live with this monster. That door does not slam shut in Kay's face. Kay locks it herself. She is no longer a victim, but an accomplice. Michael has lost his soul, and Kay has become a nun, mourning that soul. This is the true ending of The Godfather. No one remains innocent. Looking back, to say that Mario Puzo's 600-page masterpiece is a simple crime story is like saying Shakespeare's Hamlet is a simple revenge story. The Godfather is the tragedy of modern man. Michael Corleone wins the war. He destroys his enemies. He protects his family. But when you close the last page of the book, the feeling you experience is not of victory. The feeling you experience is one of deep, cold loneliness. Michael has built an empire, but the person sitting on the throne of that empire is no longer Michael. He is his father's ghost. That icy expression on his face is not a mask, but the gravestone of his soul. This book asks us, what are you willing to sacrifice to win? Perhaps we don't kill anyone. Perhaps we're not mafia bosses. But we all tear small pieces from our souls and give them to the system for our own little empires, for our careers, for our status, for security. Reading The Godfather is like looking in the mirror, and what we see in that mirror sometimes frightens us. If this deep dive has opened a door locked in your mind, if you want to see not just the story, but the dark philosophy behind it, you're in the right place. This is Daily Books. We don't just summarize here, we read between the lines of life. Break this vow of silence by liking this video. Click the subscribe button to join the family, because the world outside is cold and unjust. But here, in the light of books, we will continue to seek the truth. As Mario Puzo said, great men are not born, great men are made. Keep growing, put down the gun, take the cannoli, and until the next episode, take care of yourselves.